Hey y'all, today I'm sharing some cozy fall meal ideas that I love whipping up for my family during the good old Burr months. We're starting off with a few recipes near and dear to my heart from one of the best cooks in the South. And to top it all off, we'll end with a warm, delicious caramel apple pie. So grab your apron and let's get cooking. Besides dessert, all of these recipes today have something to do with Paula Deen. This first one is her brother Bubba or Uncle Bubba Seafood Restaurant's crab stuffed flounder. In a pan over medium heat, I'm going to put about a tablespoon of butter, and then I'm going to saute off my 3 green onions that I thinly sliced, about 2 cloves of minced garlic, about 2 to 3 teaspoons of chopped fresh parsley, and 1 small finely chopped green bell pepper. In a large bowl, I'm going to crack 1 egg, and then I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Tony's Sachet's seasoning. It calls for other stuff, but this is basically all that's in there. And then I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, and then some spicy or Dijon mustard, about 2 tablespoons of that. I'm going to squeeze in the juice of half a lemon and then 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I prefer Duke's. Then I'm going to mix that up till it's well combined. After my veggies are nice and tender, I'm going to add them into the bowl. I'm going to add in 8 ounces of lump crab meat. Squeeze in about half a sleeve of saltine crackers. Then I'm going to add in 8 ounces of clawed crab meat. And I'm going to salt and pepper that to taste. I'm going to season both sides of my flounder fillets. Now, in Uncle Bubba's recipe, he uses a big fillet of flounder, but I don't live by the ocean, so I just had to get these like pre-frozen flounders. So I'm going to put the crab mix on top, and then I'm going to add another piece of fillet, because like I said, they're very small, on top of the crab meat. I'm going to salt and pepper the top of these and add a bunch of paprika for color. I'm going to add these in a 350 oven for 20 minutes and then broil it for an additional 5. Here I just made some red beans with ham hock. All I did was boil them hard for like 3 hours, stirring and adding water consistently. And I added some Tony's Sachet seasoning in there. And then here I'm making some cheesy grits, and I'll leave my grit recipe above. But basically, you cook it to the box directions. I do about 6 servings. I add in some heavy cream and 2 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. So next, I'm making the Bag Lady, which is also Paula Deen. It's her sour cream biscuit recipe. It's just 2 cups of self-rising flour, 2 sticks of butter melted, and 1 cup of sour cream. You mix it together well. I put it in a greased muffin pan and I cook it at 400 for about 10 minutes or until the tops are golden brown. And with the extra crab mixture I had, I just made some side crab cakes. It also has a recipe for crab butter, but I didn't have enough seafood base, but this is a delicious fall meal. Really, not much is cozier than the Lady and Sons chicken noodle soup. This seems like a lot of ingredients, but it's super easy. You're gonna put in a pot of water your chicken, your whole chicken, and then you're gonna add 3 bay leaves. You're gonna put some lemon pepper seasoning. I did about a tablespoon because I was making a lot of it. And then I added some Italian seasoning, a tablespoon or 2. I added some chicken bouillon. It does call for 3 bouillon cubes. I normally use chicken base. And then I put in some minced garlic. I did about 3 cloves and 1 peeled and diced onion. And then I added salt and pepper as well. I cook mine covered on low for about an hour to an hour and a half. Here I'm making some herb cornbread. I'm adding 1 cup and 1/4 of self-rising cornmeal and 3/4 cup of self-rising flour to a bowl. I'm gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon of celery seed. I use celery salt, honestly, I didn't have any. A 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme and a 1/2 teaspoon of dried marjoram. Then you're gonna beat 2 eggs and add those in. And then 1.5 cups of milk. You're gonna mix that in there as well. And then I added 6 tablespoons of melted butter. On the recipe online, it does call for sugar, but in her old videos that I've watched since I was like 12 years old, it does not, so I didn't do it. Here, I'm gonna add it to my cornbread pan and bake it at 425 or 400, I actually did, for 25 minutes or until golden brown. I'm gonna thinly slice some carrots. I did about 3 large carrots. You can do however many you want. And then I'm gonna do 3 stalks of celery. I'm gonna take my chicken out once it's done cooking, and it should be falling apart tender. My wings fell off as I brought it out. I'm gonna add in the celery and the carrots, mix those well, and then let them simmer for about 20 minutes while I let the chicken cool so I can shred it. After I've shredded my chicken and the veggies have cooked and are tender, I'm gonna add a whole bag. I think I used 1 pound. This is 4 cups of egg noodles. It calls for 2.5 cups, but we like a lot of noodles. I'm gonna add in some fresh parsley. I'm gonna add about 1/3 cup of sherry and then a teaspoon or 2 of seasoned salt. And then 3/4 cup of heavy cream. This is optional, but I do love this option, so I add it. Then you're gonna throw in a handful or 2 of Parmesan cheese. I let it cook for about 5 minutes to get the noodles tender, and then I add in the chicken. On top of the chicken, I put in about 1 cup or 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. I saw Paula make this when I was like 13 on TV, and I have loved it ever since and made it ever since. And yeah, I used the herb cornbread to dip it in, and there you go. Paula Deen's Lady and Sons chicken noodle soup. And this is her delicious 3-meat pasta. I always make more than it says. It calls for 1/2 pound of angel hair pasta, but I make 2 pounds of spaghetti. Whoopsie! Then I make or I shred about 2 cups of Parmesan and 2 cups of sharp cheddar. I'm here cutting up a smoked kielbasa, about 1 pound or 2 of that. And this is just some sliced ham pre-made at the deli. And I'm slicing that into, well, it's supposed to be cubes, but they don't make them that thick and they're really expensive if they are. So I just went ahead and did the little slices of it. It worked out fine. You want to have about 2 cups of each meat I'm showing here basically. I did a little more than that, but I have a big family, like I said. I'm taking a rotisserie chicken and I'm going to shred that up. I shredded the whole thing and used it, but you just need about 2 cups. And as you can see, I'm adding all of this into a big bowl. Then you add in a small chopped onion. I will say, if you don't like it crunchy, you should saute it before this, but if not, just put it in there straight. And then you're going to take your cheeses and put them on top. Save a little of the Parmesan for the top of the pasta. And then I'm gonna add in 16 ounces of cottage cheese. And then about 1/2 cup of sour cream. On the online recipe, it calls for condensed soup. It does not in the ones I've watched on her show forever, so I never do that. I just add in 3 bouillon cubes to 1/2 cup of water. Or, no, is it 1/2 cup of water? It is a cup of water. You add 3 bouillon cubes to a cup of water and you pour that in. My bowl was very small, so I decided to put it in a bigger bowl with the cooked pasta, and that still wasn't big enough. So just be warned that this is really hard to mix unless you have a literal gigantic bowl, but I did make extra than it called for, so that probably has something to do with it. I'm just gonna mix it in the best I can and put it in a 9x13 grease baking dish. You're going to top it with the remaining Parmesan cheese or as much as you want to add to it. And then you're going to put it in a 350 oven and bake it for 35 to 40 minutes. And I will say all the men in my life especially love this stuff. And last but definitely not least, caramel apple pie. You're going to melt 2 sticks of butter and add in 6 tablespoons of flour. Mix that in until there's no clumps, and then you're going to add in a cup of sugar, a cup of brown sugar, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. Once you've got that mixed in a little bit, you will add a 1/2 cup of water to make sure it doesn't burn. I got this recipe from a girl named Paige Natalie on YouTube. I will link her video for it below. She does it in the pie and on top of the pie. I just put this a little bit in the pie, a little on top of the pie, and then I save the rest for coffee because I do something else with the apples. But I'll show you all that in a bit, but I will leave her video where I got this down below. I'm going to whisk that in until it's really well dissolved and then bring it to a boil. While I'm waiting for that to come to a boil, I'm going to start on my apples. There's no way I'm going to get them all done, but I peel about 10 to 12 small Granny Smith apples. Once that comes to a boil, you're going to put it on a simmer and simmer it for 5 minutes. And you stir it occasionally, making sure it doesn't burn on the bottom. Once your 5 minutes is up, you're going to remove it from the heat and let it cool. Then you're going to finish peeling and chopping your apples. I chop them really thin so they cook better. I do not like a crunchy apple. You can make it thicker if you want. I like them soggy, I'm not going to lie to you. Once you've finished doing that, you're going to add in 1/3 cup of granulated sugar along with 1/3 cup of brown sugar. I also add in about a tablespoon or maybe 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then I add in either 4 to 5 tablespoons of flour or 3 to 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. I prefer the cornstarch, but either will work. And then you mix that in until well combined. I'm rolling out my all butter pie crust dough. I will have an in-depth video on this. I was supposed to a while back, but our oven broke. But I just take 2 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour into a food processor along with 2 sticks of diced up, very cold, frozen butter. I add it into it, and then I put a tablespoon of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. And then I add in about 1/2 to 3/4 a cup of water mixed in with a tablespoon to 2 of red wine vinegar. It tastes amazing with it. And then I just pulverize that until it becomes a dough, and then I take it out, knead it a little bit, and put it in the fridge to chill. Like I said, I'll have a video on that later. You're just going to want to use a pre-made pie crust or your own pie crust dough. You can do whatever you prefer. I'm just putting it into my pie plate, and this is not going to look perfect. It is still so hot in Texas, unfortunately, and it's just, it melts so easily that I don't even try to make it look beautiful because there is no point. Once I've got that laid down nicely inside, I'm going to take my other half of the dough, roll it out, and I would do a lattice, but like I said, it's so hot in Texas and I am not good at the lattice, honestly. So I just take these little cute leaf cutters, which that girl also uses in her video that I was talking about before, but I've had these because I love to use them on pies anyway. And you just punch a whole bunch out so you can put them all over the top of your pie. So no, this isn't a fancy lattice, but if you don't like to do those or don't ever have time, this is a really cute way to make it look festive. And it's honestly, I think it's cuter in a way. And I put it in the fridge for about 20 minutes. There's the yummy cooled off caramel. Oh, it smells so good. Then you're gonna add in your apples to your pie shell, and you just kind of want to flatten them down a little bit. I just trim off some of the excess crust so it'll be easier to fold under. And once I do that, I just take it and fold it onto itself to make it a little bit prettier. But you know, there's only so much I can do. It's not the best, but it worked out, and it's rustic, right? It's very rustic and beautiful and country. The whole point of this pie. So like I said, Paige doesn't do any of that sugar stuff in hers. So she pours most of the caramel in there, but I just add a little bit just for a little extra flavor. If you love sweet stuff, this is the pie for you. But I just add in a little over the top of the pie, and then I take the little leaves that we got and put it all over. See, I mean, I just think that looks so cute. Better than a lattice to me, you know, and easier. Then I'm going to take the rest, or not the rest, a little bit more of that caramel and drizzle it on the top. It caramelizes on top of there, and it becomes delicious, especially on this pie crust recipe, which I said I'll have out later. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, then you're going to put this in the oven. Most pies says it's like 40 to 55 minutes, but I always cook mine for about an hour and 15 to get it really thick on the inside. And if it's getting too brown on the top, I just place some foil on there. And there you have it, caramel apple pie. I'll leave a link for Paula's recipes, Paige's video for her pie, and my pie filling and pie crust recipe in the description box below. I hope y'all enjoyed these cozy fall meal ideas, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.